All right, welcome
Okay.
to our very first travel panel where we're just going to be asking our panelists some questions and I'll be assigning random points and we'll just see who wins the bragging rights for the night or the day. So why don't we just go around the room and introduce ourselves? My name is Hung. I'm in Seattle. I'm an engineer. I love to travel and I'm a little tipsy right now.
I'm Kristen, currently in London, and I just write about a bunch of nonsense that goes around in my brain. So that's about it. No
Perfect.
contribution to society.
I'm Kaylee. I'm currently in Madrid, Spain, studying. I study linguistics and Spanish, and I don't write a lot for anything. I just kind of hang out. No contribution to society.
Ooh, yes.
Hanging out was cool. That's contributing. So I got, let's see, like 5, 6 questions I've prepared.
I'm scared.
Too.
They're pretty easy questions. It's super simple question. Anyone can answer. So let's just try the first one. It's so what are some phrases, maybe 3 to 4 phrases that you think all the travelers need to know wherever they might go beyond hello, hi, how are you, what's your name, and how much is that? So what are some additional phrases that you think would be really good for travelers to know? So let's start with, why don't we start with Kaylee first?
One is, I think, perdona, because that's like excuse me in Spanish. But I got here and I didn't know that, and I know it's really obvious, but I got here, and so if you're on the road, 2 people are black, you're kind of like, excuse me, and like they don't understand you, so I think you just got to be like forceful. So that's one, you got to say it very loud.
Mm-hmm.
Another, should I go with inappropriate phrases, like bad things, or should I just stray away from that?
Go for it.
If a phrase is inappropriate, that's okay. I mean, it's essential.
Yeah, okay. The next one first would be T.O., which is like, if you see a friend, you're like, T.O., what up? Like, that's like, hey, I know you and we're friends. So that's a good one, because it makes anybody happy. You're just like, T.O.,
yeah.
and they're like, yeah, all right. And then the last one would be joder, which is an inappropriate word for at any time that you do anything bad to yourself or to another person, and you're just like, joder, like it's one of those days.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
Start using those. 3 phrases. Let's see. God, this is hard.
Yeah, right?
Oh, I think this applies to Americans, but you should say, I'm Canadian, not American, because people don't really like Americans around the world.
That's a true statement.
So I would say that one. Yeah, I've used that one a couple times. I've got a Maple Leaf little sticker on my suitcase, but I've never been to Canada. So let's see. I guess for me, where's the hospital?
Yes, that's a perfect one. Good one. I like that. I have that on my list too.
I think I'm out. Just 2 phrases.
Okay, cool.
Very cultured that way.
I give Kristen 4 points for that, for the American versus Canadian. That was a perfect answer. And
wait now. Wait.
So much more useful than anything.
That's a super useful one.
Out there. You can't beat that.
That's a perfect.
Okay, however, she gave 2 answers and I gave 3.
Okay, so you want me to give her like negative points for only giving 2? I take 1 point away for not answering the question completely.
Sorry, Kristen.
Yeah, thanks, Kaylee. Come on.
So my 3 phrases are: excuse me, sir, are you the police? Where's the embassy? And where is the food at?
Ooh, where's the food? That's a good one.
You always need food and drinks. So where's the food at, or where's the wine at, or where can I get drunk? I think would be my favorite 3 things to ask. Let's go to the next question. What is the most overrated place you've been to so far, and why? So let's start with Kristen first.
In your city or anywhere?
Anywhere in your travels. What's the most overrated place you've been to?
We'll have to think about that. Now I can't remember one country I've even been to. Really, I don't know if overrated's the right word, but I Barcelona. Like, everyone loves Barcelona. It was my least favorite place in Spain. I didn't, it felt so international and, like, I don't know. I loved Madrid, but everyone else loved Barcelona. Yeah, it's true. I loved Madrid, but I mean, I have no reason for Barcelona. I guess it just felt kind of fake.
Kind of fake. Okay, felt
harsh?
fake.
That harsh? I would go back if I had the opportunity, but I would never, like, pick to travel there again. But of all the places in Spain I went, it was my least favorite.
What about it that was fake, though? Like, was it the people that was fake, or just...
I think going through it, you didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was in Spain. It just felt everyone spoke to you in English, all the prices were really high, there were tourists everywhere.
Okay, so it's super touristy area?
I think so. I'd been living in Valencia at the time, so I think Valencia just felt very, like... Have you been to Valencia, Kaylee? You got that excited. It's my favorite.
It's beautiful. I'm so jealous. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I think that just coming from there, maybe to Barcelona, I didn't connect. We didn't vibe.
Okay. So let's move on to Kaylee.
And we went to Rome, and it was my first time in Rome. And I just can't get into that city. Like, the Vatican is beautiful, and obviously that's the Vatican City. And, like, we went and saw, like, back streets, and they were gorgeous. But you get to the Colosseum, and I remember so clearly. I was, like, 16, but I'm at the Colosseum, and, like, looking up at this thing that's supposed to be amazing. And then every 10 feet around it are those, like, tourist stands, and they sell the magnets. And I sat there, and I was like, what are we doing here? Like, this is like, a scheme for money. And so it's, like, a beautiful city, and you know how much I love Italy. Like, Italy's my favorite place besides Spain. But yeah, I just like I don't think that I'll go back to Rome in my life but like I saw it once and it was beautiful, but like I can't stand the tourist and the business of it all when it's something that's so historic and so cool. So yeah.
Good answer.
Agreed.
I agree. Have you guys been to China? Shanghai or any of those cities? The thing that got me is that wherever you go, you're just surrounded by just a massive amount of people. And we went to this one temple, and they built this temple to look kind of like Rome and have a huge cathedral and all that stuff. But as you're exiting through this, you're forced to walk through a maze of, like shops. And there's no way to not go through that shops. And the shop is like a mile long, so I mean, a lot of the rural parts of China is really cool, but any of the big cities, any of the big touristy areas, like, they just want money and they just want you to buy something, Have you guys been on a cruise before?
Yes.
Do you think you'll ever go on a cruise again? What about the cruise that was good, and what about it that wasn't so good?
I've been on 2 cruises, actually, and we went with my family. And so I just remember, like, I was pretty young. I was probably, like, 9 or 10. And I just remember that, like, you have your dining included in, like, what you pay. We had to increase our ice cream intake at the free ice cream, like, dispensers each day. So by the end, ice cream with every single meal. I feel like throwing up, and you feel so horrible. But it was so much fun. But... Okay, on that side note, no, I love cruises. They like their money, and that's for sure. And I know that it's not really like the traditional way to travel, but my dream is to go on an Alaskan cruise because I think that would be really cool. Or I've heard that cruises through Greece are really beautiful. So I don't know. I just like the whole aspect of you took a ship somewhere and you get off in these cities.
Your response.
All right. I've been on one cruise, and I loved it for what it was because it was spring break, so there were 40 of us, and so basically all we did was drink on Caribbean islands for about a week straight, which is, I think cruises are kind of made for that, so I feel like I got that whole experience. But the only thing, if it weren't spring break and it was just a vacation, I don't think I would enjoy it because you get basically 8 hours to spend in one city. So if you have to get back on the cruise ship, it's like, I don't know, I don't like time constraints, I guess is what I don't like about them. Maybe, I know they do have some cruise lines where you might get an overnight in another city, but I'm kind of lazy, so I kind of don't like bouncing around too much. I like to sit in one place for like a week so I could spend like a day sleeping without feeling guilty and not doing anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But the food was, I mean, all you can eat buffets, like, everywhere.
Yeah, girl.
Incredible.
I got you.
We went. What was that boat that song that came out? I'm on a boat. That song came out the year I took my cruise. What's that thing that Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet did? We did that.
Oh, where they like stand at
With
the edge and like
with
yeah,
the thing?
yeah. So Chris and I did that, and so we had a lot of fun reenacting, things all around the boat, which was great. But I just think I would go on it for a bachelorette party, like a party atmosphere like that. That would be a fun bachelorette party. But for me, if I want to go, see Turkey or something, I would probably just fly there and then maybe rent a small boat or go on a small cruise. But those big Caribbean cruise ships,
Yeah.
probably not.
Yeah, I've heard that the smaller.
Like I said, it's just the time you spend in the towns is so small. Where it's like,
Yeah.
what if you really like a place? You don't
Right.
have the option of staying. You have to go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think like cruises are kind of the definition between like vacation and traveling, because there's like a big difference between those two words. So I think cruise ships are definitely a vacation, but
Yeah.
if you want to travel and like experience stuff, like cruises are not the way to go.
Totally agree with you guys there. I think I've been on one cruise from Long Beach down to Puerto Vallarta and Cabo. And the
Ooh.
first few days were really cool because it's like, oh man, I can eat all the food I want, and there's casinos and miniature golf and all sorts of activities to do on the boat. But by like the third or the fourth day, I got sick of it because there was a very small selection of Asian food, so I was craving rice. I was like, I need some rice. Sometimes I just want to, you're on a boat and there's no other choice. You're just on a boat. You can't just like go and.
Sorry, I've never played that before.
You don't crave rice as I do? I do.
Don't cry. Rice?
Hey, when you need something, you need something. That's what I needed.
I totally get it, but I was expecting you to be like, oh, I could really use some like fried chicken or something.
That was amazing.
Just rice.
Rice is an essential part of our dietary needs here. Anyways, what was I trying to say?
I have no idea.
Everyone who listens is dying laughing right now.
Okay, go
All
on.
right. So when you're on a boat, you can't just get in a car and drive somewhere, right? That's the only place you can be on is just a boat and a cruise, and I think that's really limiting. It's really one of those super relaxed kind of vacation travel thing because you don't have to worry about a single thing, but it limits your options and your flexibilities. You can't really take off and do what you want to do. I've only got one more question, and then it's kind of a difficult one. And that Cuba has just opened its door to American tourists. And according to this article I just read, it has seen a huge increase in tourism. And Cuba itself and Havana and the other cities in Cuba can't keep up with infrastructure. And so what do you think would be things that definitely they need to work on, or things that if they have to prioritize what they should work on to bring more tourists in, to make tourists feel more comfortable?
It's a hard one because it's a hard country too, and I feel like as Americans, especially, everyone's running to rush there. They talk about how cute and quaint it is, and the cars and the buildings and everything's so pretty, and they love that side, but they don't realize that the people of Cuba, they don't have a choice. Like that, for them, they can't have new nice cars like those old vintage ones we think are cute. It's a shame because that's what they're going to see, this so-called authentic way of life, but the people don't have a choice. So I think that people need to be respectful of that, and it's hard too because of the way the government is they want to build up tourism, but at the same time, if I went, I would never stay in a hotel. I would do those local, I can't remember what they're called or how to pronounce it. They begin with an A, the little local homes you stay in when you're in Cuba, because that money goes directly to the local families' pockets, because these people still have to live this way, whether it's open to us. The government's the only people benefiting from our tourism. So I think it's tricky, and a tricky subject because people are flocking there, but not necessarily for the right reasons.
Yeah.
just because they think it's cute and quaint. And I read a great article from a Cuban American on that, actually, as she, she can't stand it when people are like, go to Cuba before it's ruined and becomes commercialized.
Yeah.
But, it's a good thing for Cuba to get the local people especially, to get newer buildings and newer cars. And
like, I really related to what she said about it being tricky, just because I think there's a fine line between wanting tourism to enter the country in terms of profit and then wanting to keep what Cuba is essentially, and especially to the people. So I think the first thing, if they wanted to increase tourism, is to really focus on safety standards, whether that be putting in a hotel in like what's considered a better part, or like, I'm not that educated on the country itself, but I know a lot of people, it depends on the crowds that you're attracting, because people that travel often are going to go there and stay in a hostel and be okay because they are used to it. But then there are the people that are more considered tourists and there for a vacation, that I know people like, especially of an older generation, are used to going to places like Italy where they have a Holiday Inn or, something like that. So I think it's up to them to decide what they want to see happen from it, whether that be to preserve what's already there or to make it safer and more commercialized so that people come there. So I think in terms of attracting people, a safety standard and a standard of comfort is going to be an important thing, but I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing or a beneficial thing.
Okay, so after tallying in the points, Kaylee, you had 20 points, and Kristen, you had 21 points. So
What?
You win by a slim margin. So congratulations, you can
thank you.
declare
Well
yourself
played,
the winner.
Kaylee. Well played.
Yes,
Yes,
well played.
indeed.
Virtual
Try to
handshake.
come back for another week.
All right, so
Yeah, right.
We need to do like an in-person panel one day.
we should.
Yeah,
one of these days.
That would be the surprise of the century.
Yeah.
We'll
Maybe
meet
it'll
up. We
come.
meet up one of these days to do it.